The Red Sox are right in the thick of the playoff race, and somehow, getting healthy might actually create one of the toughest decisions they've had to make all season. Trevor Story could be back within days. Roman Anthony is officially playing baseball again. And now Boston is getting to the point where these decisions aren't hypothetical anymore. Over the last month and a half, this team has finally figured out how to win. Guys have stepped up, roles have changed, and the lineup Trevor Story is coming back to looks completely different from the one he left. So when Story is ready, I don't think the answer should automatically be, Trevor's back, give him shortstop every day. Because that means somebody else loses at bats. And Roman Anthony? That is a completely different conversation. When Roman comes back, you make room for him. Trevor Story? He has to prove he makes this lineup better, because the Red Sox team Trevor Story is coming back to is not the same team he left in May. This isn't just about Trevor Story taking Andrew Monasterio's spot. Because if Story goes right back to shortstop, then Monasterio has to go somewhere else. And that's where the domino effect starts. Monasterio has earned at-bats with the way he swung it during this run, so I'm not just kicking him to the bench. But if you move him off short, now he starts taking reps somewhere else in the infield, and that can squeeze Anthony Siegler, who has become one of those guys I just want him in the lineup because he keeps giving you quality at-bats and finding ways to impact games. So one decision with Trevor Story can end up changing 3 or 4 different roles. That's why this isn't as simple as saying, Story is healthy, put him back at short. Because now you're not just adding Trevor Story, you're moving Monasterio, you're squeezing Siegler, and you're messing with multiple pieces of a lineup that finally found something. So before Boston does all that, Story has to prove he's worth changing what's already working. Before I'm taking at-bats away from guys who helped turn this season around, I need Trevor Story to show me that the healthy version of him is actually better than what Boston has right now. And to understand why I feel that way, we have to go back to what Story looked like before he got hurt. Trevor Story was not helping this offense. He was hitting .206 with a .244 on-base percentage and a .303 slugging percentage through 41 games. Now, I do want to be fair here. Story was dealing with the sports hernia, so there is a very real chance that the player we saw in April and May was not a healthy Trevor Story. Maybe he comes back and looks completely different, but that's exactly my problem. We don't know. And in the middle of August, with the Red Sox fighting for a playoff spot, Boston does not have the luxury of finding out over 2 or 3 weeks of everyday at-bats. Especially because we've seen this movie before. This will be the 4th time since he came to Boston that Trevor Story has had to return from a significant injury and try to jump back into the lineup in the middle of a season. And those returns have been all over the place. In 2022, Story came back in late August after missing about 6 weeks with a hand injury, and he actually hit really well. He went 17 for 50, hit .340, and gave Boston exactly what you would hope to get from him. Then he hurt his heel and his season was over. In 2023, it was the complete opposite. Story returned in August after elbow surgery and hit just .203 with a .566 OPS. He struck out 55 times in 158 at-bats. Then in 2024, he came back in September after shoulder surgery and was actually solid again, hitting .270 with a .361 on-base percentage and a .429 slugging percentage. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you Trevor Story always comes back from an injury and sucks. That's just not true. My problem is that we have absolutely no idea which version we're about to get. Maybe we get 2022 Story and he immediately starts raking. Maybe we get 2023 Story and he struggles to find his timing. And with where the Red Sox are right now, they cannot afford to gamble 3 weeks of a playoff race finding out. That's the part that matters most to me. The Red Sox do not have time for Trevor Story to find himself. We already watched this team go through one stretch where the offense completely disappeared, and it almost wiped out everything they built during this run. They cannot survive another one of those. We're talking about the final 6 weeks of the season now. One bad 8 or 10 game stretch can be the difference between playing in October and everybody cleaning out their lockers on September 28th. So if Story comes back and immediately looks like the guy Boston thought they were signing, awesome, play him. But if the strikeouts are still there, the at-bats still look bad, and the offense starts suffering because Boston is trying to get him going, you have to be willing to pull the plug. There is no time left to wait for the name Trevor Story to become the player Trevor Story used to be. And that is what makes Roman Anthony's return a completely different conversation. Roman is the exact opposite. When Roman Anthony is ready to come back, give him the keys. We saw it last year. When Roman goes, this offense goes. But the difference this time is he's walking back into a much better supporting cast. You've got Adley Rutschman in the middle of this lineup now. Wilson Contreras has been one of your biggest power bats. Wilyer Abreu has 22 homers. Ceddanne Rafaela is hitting around .285. Caleb Durbin has become a legitimate part of this offense. Roman doesn't have to come back and save everything by himself. He just has to come back and be Roman Anthony. And if you put that version of Roman at the top of a lineup with Rafaela, Wilyer, Contreras, Adley, and Durbin behind him, brother, I need bigger pants. We are running out of room over here.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
So when Roman is healthy, I'm not easing him back into some part-time role. Give him the keys and let this offense run through him. And that's where the playing time squeeze starts for guys like Jahmai Jones and Jarren Duran. Jones has given Boston something since he got here, but with Roman back and Massa hurt, those outfield and DH at-bats are going to get harder to find. And Duran? That's an even bigger conversation. And once Roman Anthony comes back, I think Jarren Duran is pretty clearly the odd man out. I know that sounds crazy when you think about what Duran has been for this team in the past, but we're not talking about the past. Right now, Duran is hitting .203 with a .612 OPS this season. He does have 16 home runs and 61 RBI, but the overall production just hasn't been there consistently enough. And then look at the other options. Wilyer Abreu is hitting .257 with 22 homers and an .807 OPS this season. Ceddanne Rafaela is hitting .285 with 16 homers and a .785 OPS. And Roman Anthony? We just spent the last 5 minutes talking about why I'm giving that dude the keys. So where is Duran playing every day? I'm not taking Wilyer out. I'm not taking Rafaela out. And there is absolutely no chance I'm bringing Roman Anthony back just to have him splitting at-bats with Jarren Duran. So yeah, Duran becomes your fourth outfielder. Use him against the right matchups. Use that speed late in games. Let him come off the bench and create chaos. And if he gets hot again, awesome. Then we have another conversation. But right now, Roman, Rafaela, and Wilyer are my outfield. And this is exactly what I mean by not falling into the trap. It cannot be about what somebody did last year. At the end of the day, this is a problem the Red Sox should want to have. They finally have options. But having options only matters if you're willing to make the hard decisions. This cannot be about contracts. It cannot be about names. It cannot be about what somebody's role was supposed to be 4 months ago. It has to be about who gives you the best chance to win right now, because there is no time left to figure shit out. Boston has spent the last month and a half fighting its way back into this thing, and one more bad stretch could erase all of it. So play the hot hand. Make guys earn their at-bats. And don't fall into the trap where on September 28th, the Red Sox are packing their things into boxes instead of preparing for Game 1 of the playoffs, because they spent the final month of the season trying to force names back into a lineup that was already working.